You know, I would say Rich's impact on the local music community was huge, man. I can't think of anybody that doesn't know who Rich Lockhart was, you know, and his nature and his persona. I mean, he was somebody you could just go talk to. You know, there was no ego there, ever.
What's up, everybody? We're the Rich Lockhart Band. First, we'd like to give a big thank you to Raps and Apps and the Coastal Bend Community Foundation for creating the Golden Mic and investing in local musicians and local culture. This interview is dedicated to our brother Rich Lockhart, gone but not forgotten, his beautiful family and friends, particularly his children, and his music that will endure long after his passing.
The band first came together, and my part coming into the band, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, but I've known Rich for 10, maybe 13 years in the making. We just decided one day that we were gonna form it, and I came down to Corpus from San Antonio, and just kind of took off from there.
So I've known Rich about 10 years. We initially became aware of each other's musicianship and became boys after hearing each other play here at Exchange on a jam night. So just like always, jam night has always been a catalyst for bringing very, very talented musicians together and building and forging relationships and cultivating musicianship.
The band's been around for a while. I was doing a show down at House of Rock, and Rich Lockhart Band opened for us. After we finished, I went up to Rich. I'm like, hey man, if you need somebody to fill in on bass, you know, I'm down for it. So that was about a year, maybe a year and change.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days after, he calls. He's like, hey, you want to be in the band?
The best way I could describe Rich outside of music is a blend between Captain Jack Sparrow and I have a twin brother, so I always say Jim, but it would be like a brother.
Rich was a very, very devoted family man. He was an absolute jokester, prankster. He was an absolute captain.
Yeah.
He was somebody who would have your back more fiercely than anybody else.
Man, creatively, Rich's role, basically, if he had an idea, he would just say, hey, look, this is what I got. What can you do with it? You know, it wasn't like, this is what I have and this is how it's going to be. No, it was, you know.
What I think made people connect with him so deeply is his loving nature, to be honest. I think he had an ability to bring the best out in you and see you, make you feel like you're the only person in the room.
A moment for me that immediately comes to mind when I think about Rich is how we met initially, because, you know, he is a strong personality, I am a strong personality, and when we first met, we kind of butted heads. Once we heard each other play on this Exchange stage, he was kind of like, what? And I was kind of like, what? And then we immediately became cool after that. Like once we jammed together, it was like a lightning bolt went off, you know?
Some moments of memories that come to mind when I think about Rich is playing Wine Festival and how pumped up we were, but also how nobody knew that we had 3 other shows before the one show. Another that comes to mind is some of the great Sundays that we had after our gigs where me, Benjamin, and Tony would actually get to hang out and kind of wind down and joke around with each other. So,
Man, some of the best memories were the drives to the shows with him, you know, getting to just chit chat on the drive up and the drive back, you know, getting to know him as Rich Lockhart.
The thing I think Rich loved the most about making music was his organicness in being a performer and an entertainer. The ability to showcase such an extreme talent and gift from God, honestly, on a stage that made people go, wow. And then once he got off stage, he was a very personable guy, but a lot of times he'd be reserved when he got off stage, but people would always take the opportunity to tell him what a great time they had. And I think that always added a sparkle in his eye when he would receive those flowers after he got off stage.
I think Rich would want people to remember most about his band and the music that we made, probably the passion and all the hard work we put into it. Some of those nights, getting up on stage was only a part of what was going on in the back ends.
Definitely describe the sound to somebody, man, raw, unfiltered, honest.
The emotions and experiences that are within the music frequently, I would describe as kind of transcendent, because there were times where all of us would literally be on stage and close our eyes and just let it flow out of us. And then by the time we were done playing, like all of us would open our eyes and be like, oh my God, what just happened? And people in the audience literally a lot of times would be like dumbfounded, especially by Rich's solos and stuff. That they would be dumbfounded in the audience and just be like they got hit by a tidal wave kind of thing and didn't really know how to react. And then, oh yeah, then they would applaud after they were able to take in, after they were able to take in what happened. And then, like Derek mentioned, he'd be like, Oh yeah, now we're finally landing the spaceship.
I think some of the band's biggest influences, in my opinion, is Ray Charles, Muddy Waters, and I would probably say Jimi Hendrix.
I think without a doubt, the band's largest influence would be Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, just legendary, you know, transformative guitar playing and solid pocket performances.
Yeah.
Man, I have to go with Hendrix, some Albert King,
Yeah.
you know, a little bit of funky sprinkled on top of it,
Yeah.
you know?
I think what keeps me inspired to continue creating music is it's a part of me. It's almost like your left or right arm. It's just a part of you. You can't get rid of it. You got it, so you might as well use them. So
Yeah, what keeps me inspired to keep creating, particularly in light of this tremendous loss of our boy, is the understanding that God blesses everybody, whether they realize it or not, with talent and treasure. And it would be kind of an ungrateful response to God's gift to not utilize and nourish and nurture the talent and treasure that he's given all of us.
There's a few things that would keep me inspired to keep creating music after this loss, man. Rich would be super pissed if I just quit, you know, and music it's been a part of me since I was little. You know, there's no way I can stop.
It just wouldn't be fair to myself or to the people that I love jamming with to just give up.
what I think music can do for people during difficult times, I think it can save them, move them, absolutely change your state of being.
Being part of the Coastal Bend music community has literally been pretty life altering. You know, the ability to express ourselves creatively 3 or 4 days a week in front of audiences full of our friends and loved ones, in front of audiences that are just getting to know us, who become friends and or loved ones, is invaluable. The support we receive among our fellow musicians and among our fans, I suppose, has been crucial to helping us process and be able to actually grieve and get through this tragedy, because we have so many other people to be grateful for.
You know, being a part of the Coastal Bend musical community, to me, it's family. I'm out of town a bunch, but the family is still here when I get back. You know, it's that camaraderie, it's that support system.
Being a part of the Coastal Bend music community means to me family and support. I get to see a lot of beautiful faces every single time we get out there and play, and it's just the biggest support group.
I think outside the city, people aren't aware of the caliber of musicians here. You know, whether you're from here or from out of town, a lot of people aren't really prepared for what they are able to see on any given Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
Because you can get any genre, any profound talent level, and any size crowd, honestly. There's intimate crowds where you're gonna be able to interact with the band on larger stages, where you can have the full-on, beautiful, big concert experience. And I think a lot of people think about larger areas, larger parts of Texas, larger cities in Texas, as having like the monopoly on legendary musicianship. And in reality, if they came down here on a standard Friday night and got a taste of what's going on, even on Chaparral, they'd be in for it.
You know, I would say Rich's impact on the local music community was huge, man. I can't think of anybody that doesn't know who Rich Lockhart was, you know, and his nature and his persona. I mean, he was somebody you could just go talk to. You know, there was no ego there, ever.
I think Rich's impact on the community can't really be stressed enough, because there were nights, particularly here, and other times maybe up the street at Surf Club or what have you, where there would be friends who were fellow musicians in the audience who he'd invite up on stage.
Yeah.
And then it would turn from one excellent thing into a compounded excellent experience. And I think as far as the relationships he cultivated with musicians around the city, everybody recognized not only his talent, but his soul as a musician and as a person.
And also, too, his warmth. He hosted a lot of open jams around the community, too, as well. And I know his warmth and inviting nature helped a lot of future musicians from Corpus get started.
There are so many talented individuals outside of music, but also within music. I would say Jeremy Wells is playing a huge part in driving not only the culture of music, but he's just been a crucial part of the Exchange's growth and development and cultivation of varying creative avenues since this place has opened. And I really want to give a big shout out to Jeremy.
I mean, if I had to throw some names in the hat, Matt Hole being the first one. I know me and Rich were huge fans of going and seeing Matt Hole. Also Darren McGill, speaking of one of the guys that would get up there and jam with us too as well. I'm off the top of my head, just two big artists that we respect.
Man, I would have to agree with you with Darren, Mr. McGill. Again, Matt Hole, Tim Russell, and Scarecrow People.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have been around forever, man. And they're still pulling it.
Still killing it. Yeah. I think local musical communities matter, most importantly because they offer us a pretty profound support system.
Community, right?
Yeah. Like the entire word, the driving word in that sentence, I suppose, is community. And when you think about a community, you think about people holding each other up, supporting one another, you know, something that's from the heart to see you do the best that you can.
We would get a lot of people that come up to us after the show that were saying that they had a bad night or a really hard month or year or week, and that they came out to the show and saw the Rich Lockhart band play, and it transcended them to want to keep going. So
our music connects with the common folk, man. You know, the everyday person.
The working man. When someone listens to our music, I hope they walk away feeling inspired.
I hope they walk away with chills, maybe shed a couple tears.
Yeah.
Because honestly, music that makes you cry cleanses your soul a lot of times.
Yeah, man.
And during this time, I've listened to a lot of stuff, even our own music, that has given me a proper purge in light of the loss that we've endured. But yeah, that good cry, sometimes even in public, is cathartic.
Man, I would say if they're listening to our music, I just hope that it's been uplifting. I hope it changes them. You know, I hope they feel better. If they're having just a crappy day, man, just let it out.
Have fans shared stories about how the Rich Lockhart band impacted them? Two people come to mind. Linda and Dave, I know, have been huge supporters of the Rich Lockhart band, and I know that the music has not only given me purpose, but given them purpose too as well. So that's huge.
Speaking about Linda, Dave, Preston, and Kim,
Preston,
there's so many people who show up to every show. I think they've grown to love the music and stuff, obviously, but I think the sense of community, the sense of belonging to a friend group where you not only get to obviously hear pretty great music, but once we get off stage is where the real fun and the real love.
Yeah, I would say the Rich
really
Lockhart
shared.
band has 4 members, but a
Yeah,
a
we really have
family.
like 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a family of people.
I think what it means that, you know, if the music stays with people way long after the moment passes, then, you know, we've done our job. You know, we've gotten up there and sweat and bled. And if that stays with you, then my job is done.
I feel an intense responsibility to carry Rich's heart and soul with us moving forward musically, but not only musically, just in terms of the kind of person that I want to be with my life, in my life further. I want to, just like the loss of any important person in your life that has given you game, that has given you love, that has taught you things about yourself that you didn't understand before you met them. Those people don't ever leave you. They just kind of navigate where you go next.
I think being part of the Golden Mic at this moment with Rich's death is everything. I think as a band, collectively, we've gone through a lot in this past couple of months, and just to see the fruits of his labor and our labor too as well is a really proud moment as a band.
I think the importance of moments like this to local musicians starts from the understanding that a lot of people who are local musicians here have day jobs.
Yeah.
But they work very, very hard at their music to ideally get to the next level. And this opportunity is one of those steps that could literally catapult them to the next level.
To me, to have that platform, it's huge. You don't get that everywhere. You know, I've lived in different states, and, you know, I've been in Austin for years, and it's not there.
Smaller city, bigger community.
Yeah.
If there's something I hope that viewers take away from this interview, the ability to endure, the ability to continue to press forward, to honor those you have here, but also honor your good ones gone.
Yeah, well said.
To constantly be grateful for your time on this earth and not be fearful of what happens next when you live a positively driven life and you give and receive love, as Nat King Cole said.
I think Rich would think good on the guys for keep going, but I think he would be pissed off that he's not sitting right here in this seat, truthfully.
He would recognize this as flowers that he's frequently not been given.
Yeah.
You know, he worked really, really hard, and he was a profound guitar player and songwriter.
Very well said.
And, you know, we had an awesome time playing music, but I think a lot of what Rich was looking for was really just the recognition that he was as good as he was. And we are as good as we are. And ultimately, I think this would just be something that he would show his kids and his family, and they would get a huge kick out of it, and that would be a really, really proud moment for him, I'm certain.
I just want to say, man, being in this band had helped me through a lot. I lost some family members, and playing this music with Rich and having them here with me helped me immensely.
A song that always reminds me of Rich will be Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix.
I think something that he said and did that would always make the band laugh is when we were on stage, he would always tell the crowd about the cardboard cutouts and the T-Rex arms with the tip jars and just kind of give us a good laugh up on stage.
Studio or stage? That's a hard one. Stage.
Definitely stage.
Stage, 100%.
When I think of a word that describes Rich, I would say honest.
Man, one word that I would say describes Mr. Lockhart would be humble.
One word to describe Rich is probably a badass.
Years from now, when people hear Rich Lockhart's name, one thing I hope they remember is his honesty to his craft, his absolute masterful playing, and that he was truly, truly devoted to his family and his friends and loved ones. And he was one of the best people we could ever know.
His number one priority besides music was his family.
He was a badass family man.
Yes, he was. What I hope people remember about this band is some of the badass music that we made up on stage. You know, Rich and the guys know it too as well. We would make a lot of stuff up on the spot and improvise. It's what you call a jam band. And some of those moments where Ben talks about shutting your eyes, I hope that's what they look back and they see as some of those magical moments we had up there.
Something I hope people remember about the band, how fiercely loyal we are to one another.
Oh, yeah.
There's no more badass squad of dudes I'd rather be around at any given random venue out of town somewhere, where we walk in humbly, hats in hands, instruments set up, and ready to just rock and roll. Also, we're always ready to rock and roll.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I probably shouldn't say it like this, but you couldn't fuck with us when we were on stage.
Yeah. If Rich could speak to the Coastal Bend music community, I think he would say, keep rocking, you know, keep driving, and everybody gets by with a little help from their friends too as well, so don't forget it. If I could have Rich back on the stage for one more song, it would be with a little help from our friends.
If I could have Rich on stage for one more song, I would definitely play our Voodoo Child reprise.
Man, I'd have to go with Voodoo Child as well.
A message I would give to someone who's grieving the loss of a loved one. For me personally, I try not to lean on my own understanding, but trust in God with all my heart. That has been the most thorough and actually healing aspect of this entire process, is being able to pray.
Yeah, I would second that. I mean, I couldn't have said it better, Benjamin.
The pain will always be there. You know, you just learn to handle it a little better every day.
I think if I was going to give a message to Rich, me and him did a lot of duos. It's called the Doc and Wyatt. If anybody's ever seen Tombstone, at the very end when Doc is passing away, Wyatt tells him, "I'll see you soon." So Rich, I'll see you soon, and we're going to keep rocking in the meantime.
I think if there's anything I could say to Rich is that your family will be good. We got them. We'll be here for them. And as far as our music is concerned, we're still working, bro. And we're not going to stop.
Man, thank you. It's hard. God, in a second. Yeah, he was like my little brother. Thank you for being there, and thank you for helping me be a better person.